Hi, I'm Sarah and I am a Vinyasa yoga teacher. I'm currently quarantined in Tenerife, so I just thought I would put together a class for beginners. So if you've never tried yoga before, or if you've done it a few times and still working through some of the poses, we will go through some really nice stretches and some of the poses in this class today. We're going to start in a comfortable seat, so whether that's with your legs crossed or your legs out wide, whatever feels most comfy for you, whether you want to sit in a cushion or on your knees, just figure out what's the most comfortable for you. And we are just going to, so for me, it's sitting cross-legged feels the most comfortable, so we're just going to start with closing the eyes and concentrating on our breathing. So maybe you want to bring one hand onto the tummy to start to feel it rise as you fill the lungs up completely with air, and then feel the belly button shrinking back to the spine as you exhale. So just trying to get this nice, slow, deep connection to the breath to help us move through all the physical postures. Nice big inhale and release. We're going to try to keep this integrity in the breath throughout our practice. So we're just going to start bringing some movement to the head, so bring the chin down to the chest. Just take some circles with the head, just starting to warm up into the spine. Really nice, slow circles. Letting the head come all the way around, back down to the chest. I love this stretch so much, super simple, but really don't stretch our necks enough, so going the other direction and spend so much time looking down at our screens or on our phones. So it's really nice just to have that little neck stretch. And then we are going to bring the hands to the knees, trying to just draw the tummy in towards the spine again, so we're just actively engaging the core. And we're going to bring the crown of the head up, so imagine you're being lifted through the crown of your head. So we're trying to create a nice straight spine. Then we're going to roll the shoulders up towards the ears and just let them sink down the back. So really pushing into your sit bones here to try and create a nice long spine. And just trying to sit up nice and straight. Maybe you just need to take a little wiggle side to side. And we're just going to try to send the breath to any areas of tightness. So, just feeling into the body where you need to send the breath. And then we're just going to bring the arms up towards the ceiling, the sky. Reach up through the fingertips, bring the palms together, and then just push the palms up towards the sky. Stretching through the armpits, still trying to lift up through the crown of the head here. And then gently bring the arms down in front of you, bring your chin to your chest, just to stretch out the back of the neck. And breathing into the back of the neck, nice and slowly, nice and deep. Keep that stretch, palms facing forwards, reaching up again towards the sky or the ceiling. We're just going to take it over to the right and then coming back over to the left. And then just release the right hand, out to the right side, walk the fingers out and then reach overhead with the left arm. So we're trying to create a gentle side body stretch. Again, you can do this with your legs straight out in front of you or like in a wide seat if crossing the legs for this amount of time does not feel comfortable. And just breathing up through the side body, trying to feel the space between each of the ribs. Nice, slow, gentle breathing, coming back up to the middle. Bring the hands out in front. We're just going to gently walk the hands forward just a couple of centimeters, so not very far. We're trying to keep the spine nice and straight, nice and long here, reaching through the crown of the head as we come forwards. We're just trying to create a really gentle stretch in the hips, not round down, not trying to bring the forehead to the floor or anything ridiculous like that. We're just trying to create a really nice stretch in the hips. So yeah, you probably don't need to walk very far forwards with the hands to feel the stretch, and just trying to breathe into any areas of tightness, anywhere you feel needs that extra space. And we'll just walk the hands gently back in towards us as we come over to the left hand side. So walk left hand out to the side and then reach up all the way from the sit bone. We're stretching all the way through the ribs, up through the fingertips, trying to keep both sit bones on the floor here. Nice, slow, deep breaths. Inhaling all the way through the nose, and then gently exhaling to come back to the center and walk the hands just out in front once again. You might be able to walk them a tiny bit further this time. Got used to the stretch. And just walk the hands back towards you. Bring the hands to the knees, look up to the sky or the ceiling. And then we're just going to roll the shoulders round, bring the chin to the chest. And then look up as we gently arch the back, this seated cat-cow. So much nicer to do it this way than on the knees, because obviously it's much better for the knees. So we inhale to look up, arch the back ever so slightly, and exhale to round the spine, round the shoulders, bring the chin down towards the chest. Inhale to look up, and exhale to round the chin down to the chest. Keep the hands on the knees. And just take it a couple more times, whatever you need from the movement. Then we're just going to bring the legs out in front, point the toes up. Just make sure we're grounding down through the sit bones. Bring the hands either side. Draw the belly inwards, so we're really activating the core here. Push into the hands. And we're just trying to sit nice and strong, nice and straight. Make sure the shoulders are relaxed away from the ears. We're not really putting any weights on the hands. It's the core that's doing the work here, just sitting in a nice, straight, legged seated position. And then we'll lift the right leg, and then followed by the left. Bring the hands so that the fingertips face us, and then we're just going to lift the hips up as we come into a reverse tabletop. So we're trying to create a straight line from the knees all the way to the shoulders here. If you want to just let the head hang slightly, if that's going to feel good, then we're just going to release the bum back down to the mat and cross the legs and just take some circles with the wrists. And just to warm up into the wrists, just get them moving. Just take the hands out in front, point the fingers towards the floor, and then fingers towards the sky, and then just take this up and down movement with the hands a couple of times. And then you can just take like little wave, the wrists. We're not going to do much work with the wrists in this session, but it's always important to warm up the wrists before practicing yoga, because we have so many tiny bones in the wrists, and it is something that if we don't warm up properly, there's potential for injury there. So yeah, just make sure you always warm up the wrists before practicing. So yeah, just taking a few more little circles. Then we're just going to come onto all fours. So trying to just make sure that your hands are under the shoulders, and we're just going to bring the fingertips towards us of the right hand. Maybe you can rock forwards and backwards. And then if you want to bring the other hand so that the fingertips are facing towards you, and rock forwards and backwards slightly, just to gently work into the wrists. Bring the hands to face forwards, and then we'll just take the fingers out to the sides. And then you can just stay here, or if you want to just gently move, ever so gently slide to side. Also a nice warm up for the wrists. And then just bring the hands forward. We're going to tuck the toes under and just come into a standing position. Walk forwards to the front of the mat. We want to fold forwards here. So we're trying to bring the rib cage onto the thighs, so you can keep a nice deep bend in the knees, and we're lifting the tailbone up towards the sky. Take opposite elbows and then just gently rock side to side. So we're releasing the lower back here, trying to stretch into the backs of the legs and just breathing into the backs of the legs. You can let the head hang if you want to. Just gently rocking side to side. And then we're going to straighten the spine as we look forwards. Bring the hands to the shins or to the thighs. And then we're going to bend the knees and gently fold forwards over them again. And then bring the arms out by the side as we slowly rise to stand up. Bring the hands over the head. You can bring the palms together at the top, and then gently bring the hands in towards the chest. Take the arms out to the side. We're just going to stand here, just take a couple of breaths. Just take the feet hip width apart. This is mountain pose, and we're trying to keep the arms active. So that's why my fingers are spread. So spread the fingers, and you can roll the shoulders up towards the ears and gently let them relax down the back. And we're trying to just slightly engage the core here, lengthening the spine. Inhale to bring the arms up. Exhale to hinge from the hips to fold forwards. Nice deep bend in the knees, and then just rock side to side as you take opposite elbows. And then look forwards, straighten the spine, and then we're going to just place the hands on the mat and step back into plank position ever so briefly, and then come down onto the knees, trying to make sure that the shoulders, the elbows and the wrists are in a straight line. And then we're going to bend the elbows as we come to bring the belly and the chest all the way down, trying to squeeze the elbows in towards the rib cage, and then push the hands into the mat and lift your chest up. So we're pushing into the hands here to lift the chest, pushing into the tops of the feet, just creating a stretch in the core. Cobra pose. And then we're just going to come onto all fours and push the hips back towards the heels, reach forwards with the hands, bring the chest down towards the floor for child's pose. You can bring the forehead down onto a cushion or onto a block. Maybe you want to have the knees wide, maybe you want them together. Just play around with the pose and see what feels comfortable. But we're reaching through the fingertips to stretch into the armpits, rocking forwards onto all fours, and then you're going to tuck the toes under. So we lift the hips up to the sky for downward facing dog. So we're trying to create an upside down V shape with the body here. You can keep that nice deep bend in the knees if it doesn't feel comfortable. Then we'll just walk forwards towards the hands at the front of the mat. Nice and slowly, bend forwards over the legs. Halfway lift, look forwards, exhale to fold, nice deep bend, and then rising up all the way to standing. Bring the arms up overhead, down through the heart center, and the hands come down by the side for mountain pose, Tadasana. Just taking a couple of nice breaths here, and then we step back with the right leg as we bring the arms up overhead and come into a high lunge position. So trying to make sure here that the hips are square to the front of the mat. We can keep the hands down on the hips, or if you want to lift them up towards the sky, you'll feel a deeper stretch in the hip flexor. Maybe you want to interlace the fingers. And then we're just going to spin the back foot so that it's parallel to the short side of the mat, and then open the arms out as we come into Warrior Two position. So try to keep the front knee bent, and we try to make sure that the knee doesn't come over the ankle and that the hips are parallel to the long side of the mat here. So yeah, open the arms, nice strong straight arms. Trying to make sure that we're using our arm muscles to keep the arms in a nice straight line. Look over the front fingertips, and then we just spin the foot that's facing the front of the mat so that both feet are parallel to the short sides of the mat. Bring the hands to the hips. We're going to start hinging from the hips to fold forwards. Now if you want to shorten your stance a bit here, and we're just folding forwards, trying to keep that nice long spine, and we're creating a stretch in the backs of the legs. If you want to bring the fingertips down towards the floor, if it's going to help with the stretch, then do it. Otherwise, just keep the hands on the hips. We're breathing into the backs of the legs here. Imagine, you're being pulled by a string from the crown of the head again. So we're not rounding down into the posture. We're trying to keep a nice, straight, long spine. Couple more breaths, and then we're bringing the hands to the hips. So you use the core to slowly bring yourself back up to standing. And we're just going to spin the back foot to face forwards. Take ourselves into high lunge on the opposite side. So reach the hands up. Remember to try to keep the hips square to the short side of the mat. Nice strong lunge. So draw the inner thighs in towards one another. Push into that front foot. Trying to make sure that the legs are active here. And then we'll spin around to open up into Warrior Two on this side. So this time the back foot is parallel to the short side of the mat. Arms are strong. Come back into that wide-legged stance, and we bring the hands behind the back this time. We're going to hinge from the hips to slowly fold forwards. Try to squeeze the shoulders together. Push into the mat with the feet. Slowly rising up. And then gently release. We're just going to come back to face the front of our mat. Bring the arms to the floor. Take the foot back so that we're in a high plank. Bring the knees down to the mat. Tops of the feet down to the mat. And then just slowly lower the chest down to the mat. Keep the elbows tucked in. And then just bring the forehead to the hands. Give yourself a little wiggle side to side. And then we'll slowly make our way back up. So push into the mat with the hands, lift the chest. We're letting the shoulders sink away from the ears, pushing into the tops of the feet as we lift up for cobra. And then we'll rock back onto the knees. Bring the hips back towards the heels as we take balasana, child's pose. So again, just find your comfy version of this pose. This pose is always available in every single yoga class you ever go to, so practice it well. And yeah, you can bring your head down to the mat, reach through the fingertips. Really nice stretch from the tailbone up to the crown of the head. Rock forwards onto all fours and then just come to a seat. We're going to bring the right leg out in front and take the left leg across the right. Bring the left arm up behind you. And then we're just going to cross the body. So hugging the right arm around the left leg. And the hand that's behind us, we're not leaning into it and leaning back. It's just there mainly as a stabilizer. We're not using it for complete support. We're using the core to keep a nice straight spine as we look over the shoulder. A gentle spinal twist. And we just come back to the middle, reach the arms up, uncross the legs, and then just take a couple of breaths here in staff pose, so toes pointing up towards the ceiling, and then bring the right leg over the left as you bring the left arm behind you and just twist over to the left hand side. Seeing if you can look over the shoulder and just gently applying some pressure with the hand to the thigh. So you're creating a tiny bit of resistance here, and it will help you get into the twist a little bit deeper. Coming back through the middle, reach the arms up overhead, and then uncross the legs. Bring the hands by the side. Nice straight spine, just engaging the tummy slightly. Then we're just going to bring the soles of the feet together. This is butterfly pose. And if you want to, start to take a little bit of movement into the hips. Otherwise, just sitting still can be quite an intense stretch in the hips. So finding what you need from the stretch, basically. And then bring the knees together. And we're going to lift in the core, suck in the core as we lift up the legs. And you can hold the backs of the legs here, but we're trying to make sure that we keep the spine nice and straight, as always, as I keep saying, and not rounding down into the shoulders. So lifting up through the chest. Imagine your chest is being pulled up towards the sky. And if you want to let go of the arms, you can reach them out in front. Point the toes, keep them active. That will help you keep all the muscles in the legs active, and then in turn, the core active. This is boat pose, Navasana. And then we're slowly going to come down towards the mat. See if you can hover the legs above the mat and then rise back up. And then just bring the feet down to the mat. We're going to bring the legs out straight, the hands behind the back, fingertips pointing towards you, And I want you to just try to lean back and squeeze the shoulders together. So elbows are drawing in towards one another. There are magnets in the elbows squeezing towards one another. And this is a really nice stretch in the shoulders. Maybe you need to sink back a little deeper to feel the stretch. Maybe you don't need to go very far at all to feel the stretch. Just walking back. We're slowly going to lower ourselves all the way down to lie on the mat. Bring the feet in towards the hips. See if you can reach the heels with the fingertips. We're going to prepare for bridge pose. So lift the hips up. Trying to lift the hips up towards the sky. And gently lower and lift back up. So we're taking some little pulses here. Really slowly pushing into the mat with the hands and squeezing the thighs together. So imagine you're holding something between the thighs that you don't want to let go of. Slowly coming back down. Trying to make sure that the feet are facing forwards and they're not coming out to the side. And then just letting the legs fall side to side. Just gently releasing. And then we're going to cross the right leg over the left, make a figure of four shape, and then take the hands behind the left thigh as we gently pull the legs in towards us. Nice deep stretch in the hip, in the hamstring, maybe even in the glute. Breathing nice and slow, trying to keep that integrity with the breath. And then we're just going to switch it out. So let the legs fall side to side. And then when you're ready, bring the opposite leg, left leg over the right, and bring the hands behind the right thigh. Gently pulling towards you. This stretch is really great for tight hamstrings, and often lower back pain can be caused by tight hamstrings as well, so it can solve a whole host of problems just doing this really simple, nice stretch. When you're ready, we're just going to release the stretch really slowly, really gently. Let the legs just fall side to side. And just take the hands to the soles of the feet. And we're going to bring the feet up towards the face. I know it sounds a bit mental, but yeah, take the outsides of the feet. And we're just going to rock gently side to side in happy baby pose. So you can play around with this if you want to. Straighten one leg, straighten the other leg. Then we're slowly coming down to the mat for everyone's favourite yoga pose, Shavasana. So you're bringing the legs out as wide as the mat. Palms of the hands facing upwards. We're just closing down the eyes. Just taking well-earned rest. Relaxing the shoulders into the mat, letting ourselves just become heavy, trying to release any tension in the jaw, letting the eyes just roll back in the head, letting the breath just return to a normal rhythm. Just surrendering to the earth beneath you. We'll just stay here for a couple of minutes. In that nice, relaxed, blissful state. And then in your own time, we're just going to roll over onto one side, just bring the knees up towards the chest. And slowly make the way up to a comfortable seated position. Just keep the eyes closed. And just bring the hands to the knees. Or to the heart, hands with palms facing up if you like. Just take a nice big inhale and hold the breath in at the top, and then just gently exhale with a big sigh, releasing. And when you're ready, you can just open the eyes. And well done. I hope you enjoyed the practice. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know, and I hope to see you on the mat again soon.